this is the start of a national championship career for most of these riders, and I think we're going to be in for a bit of a battle. We mentioned it in the opening link for the television part of this show, that the 33 bike would be the man to watch this weekend, not having to worry about the championship. He went so well at the previous round at Red Star Raceway. Even though he had that small crash, he came back to win the second heat, so he certainly has what it takes here to take wins, and I think that's exactly what we're going to be seeing out of young CJ Hackett today. Going for the wins, going to take it on with Coccione on the front row. I think Aiden will just be hanging in there going, you know what, let's just consolidate, get this day done, and move those numbers off and put a number 1 on by the end of the day's racing. Possibly, in fact, he will be able to do that by the end of this first heat because Staffan's not here. 70 points in the front. No one's really going to have a chance of catching him. The only one who could was Staffan as we wait for the lights to go out.
There we go. Watch out for Chase Holscher as well. Remember, last time out at Red Star, picked up a podium finish. It looks like a pole position man. Yep, it's CJ Hackett with a great start. Dominic Doyle with a good start, trying to go around the outside. And look at Coccione, having to almost go into pit lane to avoid that. But out front, Hackett and Aiden Liebenberg, right where he wants to be there in second place. But watch out, Coccione and Dominic Doyle, a good start there. Unfortunately, Chase Holscher a little bit further back there now in 5th place. But already Aiden Liebenberg trying to mount a challenge on CJ at the front.
Yeah, a nice move there. And already there's a change up for 3rd place as Dominic Doyle just sneaks ahead, gets past, and well, loses it out. It's kind of chopping and changing through that double left-hander. Did a couple of those a few weeks ago, you and I, so we kind of know what's happening on that corner. But it is the one corner that catch a lot of riders out, and usually we have a lot of action in that corner, particularly here on the shortened version of the circuit, because remember, these KTM 390s all take the short options. So as they come through here, they're going to turn left as opposed to doing the triple right-hander, or triple left-hander, I should say. And now they come back to start and finish their first lap of racing. It is all about Hackett at the front end. Good start from the young man. Liebenberg's right on his tail. I think Eddie will probably be happy to sit behind CJ the whole race and just watch him go to the finish line. Not even worry about taking another victory this season because that number 1 plate is already his.
Yeah, one thing we've seen from CJ this whole year is that he's not afraid to put that RC390 of his on the inside, around the outside, wherever and whatever it takes to make the pass. So, yeah, like you said, Aiden Liebenberg will just sit there. Dominic Doyle on the inside of Coccione. That's a pass that we've seen so many times. We're going to see plenty of action there in turn number 3 this weekend. So Doyle back up into 3rd place, but yeah, Liebenberg definitely just shadowing at the moment as Coccione tries to go on the inside of turn 4. Dominic Doyle, one of the last of the late breakers in the RC390 Cup. So really hard to get past Dominic Doyle. Look at the race style that he's got now. He hangs right off that bike, elbow down stuff. So it really does make that the elbows out, makes the bike wide. So for Coccione to try and get past there for that final podium is not going to be easy. Just behind them, we've got Chase Holscher now. He's up into 5th place. But Hackett still doing a good job out front. Coccione again on the inside, not making the move there. So we've got 3 distinctive dices here. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and of course this one for 4th and 5th.
It's kind of Noah's Ark racing up there, 2 by 2. And Aaron Heidemann at the back end of the field, not mention him at all, but great to have him up here as well and part and parcel of this final round. It's the final round of this year's Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy, and big news, of course, happening for next year, where Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy will continue, but will also partner up with the Extreme Festival over 2 rounds, one in PE and one in Cape Town. So massive maneuvers in South African motorsport for the 2017 season. And of course, we're going out via the SuperGP page, web page, and of course by their Facebook page as well today. So we'll change up on how we're going to be watching racing. I think going to be coming in the very near future as we look at the way live streaming is going worldwide, and of course live events now being able to be broadcast directly onto Facebook. It's the way to go, and certainly we had an incredible outing last weekend at Kyalami on the launch of the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. That, of course, is on the cards for next year for SuperGP. We will be having a round there, so things are just changing up here properly. As Gary van der Berg comes and says how's it just from outside. Hygienica Racing in the house. I'll be on track in a very, very near future. Hello, Mrs. Klaassen, Deegan Martin. And the big boss man of SuperGP, of course, Stephen Watson, having a fantastic day. And also, if you want to see some new changes in livery and the way that Diode are going in terms of digital entertainment on demand, just have a squiz at the magnificent Ford Ranger that's out the back here by the podium if you're at Red Star Raceway. We'll probably get a shot of it at some stage on the race day, but the branding is incredible. First and foremost, Deadpool on the side of any vehicle will create massive amounts of
I'm going
coverage.
to steal the keys to that
I
car.
love that thing, man.
So if you see that car go missing, you know who it is.
I like the fact that they've got Deadpool and Magic Mike on the same truck, on the same side of the truck. You can't ask for better than that.
You cannot ask for better than that. But looking on track now, still CJ Hackett out front. Liebenberg doing exactly what we thought he would do, just shadowing the race leader at the moment. Coccione on the move a little bit. He's managed to pull away from Dominic Doyle. A couple of laps ago, we saw him come on the front straight and just tap the tailpiece to say to Dominic Doyle, listen, us fighting like this is not getting us anywhere. Let's try and close down on the 2 leaders out front. So looks like Coccione, 10th by 10th, is making that gap up on the leading 2, but I don't know if he's quite got enough. That gap looks a little bit too big at the moment. Dominic Doyle, unfortunately, dropping off for that 3rd place battle with Coccione, but CJ Hackett doing everything he needs to do at the moment. You can see they're like seesaw. The second part of the track, CJ Hackett definitely seems to have the pace, but at the first 3 turns, Aiden Liebenberg definitely closes that gap just a little bit.
Well, on the last pass, it was Liebenberg who was quicker. This time out, it's all about CJ Hackett. He's turned the wick up slightly, gone about a 10th of a second quicker than Aiden Liebenberg was able to do on the last pass. He was into the 7.2s, he's now into the 7.8s. Luca Coccione also in the 7, so he sits currently as 2nd fastest rider on track. So you're spot on in terms of watching how he's closing in on Aiden Liebenberg. But as we've seen, and as we've seen all season long, remember the fact, and it's something that his dad actually reminded me about this morning while we were sitting having breakfast at Red Square, Rob. Aiden Liebenberg missed that first round. He was DNF'd on the first round because he was disqualified for whatever technical infringement he had. So he had 50 points in the rear that he had to make up over 7 rounds, and he's done that incredibly well. He's been on the podium almost every single time we've had an asking, and that's what's going to win you championships. You don't necessarily have to win every single race, as I've just mentioned. You can even DNF 2 rounds or be disqualified for 2 rounds, and you still have a chance of winning as long as you're consistent, and that's what this championship has been all about. Consistency has certainly been the name of the game when it comes to Super Juniors.
Yeah, Liebenberg's definitely throwing his name into that hat of talented young South African riders that we've got coming up. And I think he'll also be competing later on in the 600s as well. So watch out, it's a very busy racer. But CJ Hackett at the moment now starting to pull away from Liebenberg, who must have the championship on his mind, because we've seen Liebenberg be a lot closer than this in previous races. But Red Star there's certainly a track that suits the riding style of CJ. Like you said last time out, did have that front end crash. But other than that, he's always been lap time wise the rider to beat, and showing now that he's got the pace. Now pulling away, looking for his 2nd victory of the season. And we said it on the intro link to today's racing, that he's got nothing to lose. He's a man that just wants to go out there
100%.
and win races. And at Liebenberg at the moment cannot be too comfortable, because look behind him, Dominic Doyle has definitely closed that gap down. And this is by far the best ride we've seen from Coccione so far. Not Dominic Doyle, sorry, Coccione. And he's just come back from that Red Bull Rookies tryout. So definitely fired up and learned something overseas there, and now closing in on our championship leader.
It's incredible how that happens. You know, I used to find it when we used to race down in mountain bike and BMX. You get international competition, and all of a sudden your game steps up just at 1 level.
Definitely.
And all of a sudden you're finding half a second more, even to a second more, where you would never be looking at it if you're just with the normal local competition. And not to take anything away from those guys, because they're also very good riders. But you just go to that Red Bull Rookie Cup, you have that 3 days of international experience. You get exposed among some of the best riders in the world. You get top quality workmanship on your motorcycle. And all of a sudden you come back here and you go, you know what, I can actually do this. And the confidence level is up. You can see it with Coccione. You could see it with Brandon Staffen when they got back. Jared Schultz, of course, has an incredible season, although he's not here for the final round. He's had international experience at Assen. He's been across to the BSBs. He's literally had probably one of his most hectic seasons as a rider ever. And it's paid off, because all of a sudden he's now in with a shot. He's in with a chance of showing what Cape Town can do. Brandon Staffen, unfortunately, he's also not here this weekend, but also having a fantastic outing in terms of
1 races at Donington.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Knows exactly what to do when it comes to international. And on the international stage, stepped up to the biggest podium you could.
100%, and Coccione has definitely closed that down. He was almost 2-3 seconds behind, and on the short track that's a massive gap, but he's closed it right down now onto Liebenberg. He's about half a second a lap faster at the moment. So still CJ Hackett, still the man pumping out the 53.6 lap time. So he's if anything doesn't go wrong here, looks like CJ Hackett's got this in the bag. But look at Coccione almost going into pit lane. He's a man on the mission now. He can see Liebenberg, the tailpiece of Aiden Liebenberg, so he's determined to close down. Going into turn 1, he's so late on the brakes. The front end of the KTM dives, and it just wobbles under the pressure. But Coccione, I haven't seen him ride like this in a very long time.
I don't think Liebenberg's going to give him much of a fight either if he does get up there and put a wheel in. I think Liebenberg will just back out and let him go. He'll be on the podium. It'll be enough to get him the championship. In fact, just by starting the race was enough. Because with Brandon not being here, his closest rival, 70 points adrift, is not going to make up any points on him. So it's literally just to get this bike to the finish line. They can take that number 6 and number 2 off and just leave the number 1 on it.
That's exactly what every racer wants to see. So Coccioni now, definitely closing that gap. And Liebenberg, like you said, I don't think he's going to put much of a fight up. But CJ Hackett, a great performance from the... Oh, Coccioni with a big mistake. Looks like a false neutral. He's run off track. Definitely a false neutral or something there. And he's going way... Look how far. He's almost going... Oh, he's going to have to climb off. No brakes, maybe.
I think he's
looks
running out of
like
brakes.
He's definitely had a brake issue there because couldn't even stop there. And unfortunately, hitting the tyre wall. And, oh, man, that's bad luck for Coccioni. But definitely a massive problem there going into the final turn because couldn't get the bike stopped. And even when he hit the grass, couldn't get the bike stopped.
Yeah, I was definitely looking at the issue there. And as you said, ran off looking like a false neutral, but then you could see him just battling to pull that lever in. There was absolutely nothing. Eventually he had to, unfortunately, put the bike down. Otherwise he would have gone straight into the fence. The catch fencing doing its job, but a long way off the circuit is that catch fencing. That must be at least 250 meters off the track. So he had a long way to go before he could actually put the bike down. Unfortunately, just not enough runoff there with that 250 meters, but that brings him to a very shortened version of race number 1. And Coccioni now on the sideline having a squiz. You can see just looking down on the right-hand side there and trying to get everything sorted out. But here we go, another lap down, 10 done, and it's all about CJ Hackett. Just like we thought, CJ Hackett just dominating at the front end, and must be that AGV Carbon Rossi replica he's got on there.
It must be that, but it's pretty much happened the whole season for Aiden Liebenberg. Yes, he had the bad luck at the first round where he won the races, but was unfortunately excluded for whatever reason it was. But his rivals around him have made big mistakes. Brandon Staffen was the man at the beginning of the year, leading out, winning races, and then just had bad luck with the bike, went to Pekisa, didn't get the results he wanted there off the podium. CJ Hackett, while he showed good pace, unfortunately has crashed out a couple of races, as has Tyrese Roberts. So there's been challenges to the title here of Aiden Liebenberg, but unfortunately they've just faltered around him, and he's just been picking up the points while they've been faltering. So it's been a champion's kind of season for Aiden Liebenberg. We know the talent that he's had winning in the 250 Cup as well. So definitely a name to remember for the future. And Aiden Liebenberg is going to come across the line here with a couple of laps remaining here, will be crowned your 2016 Super Junior KTM 390 champion.
And that'll be the second one of asking as well, which is not a bad thing. William Friend taking the first one, and now it's going to be handed across to him. William Friend stepping up to 600s. I'm sure that we're going to be seeing a similar type move from Liebenberg.
Yeah.
He's already going to be testing the waters and has already over a few races. In fact, down at Desi's Raceway, climbed on a 600 too. So knows what to do on a 600cc motorcycle. And that's exactly what the progression should be. You know, when you've gone through the ranks of the 100cc, HRC, NSF Cup, then you go to 150s, 250s, 390s, 600s is your next step. So that's what we need to see. I'm not sure if CJ is going to be doing that just yet. I know he's tinkering with the idea of going onto 600s, but I know that he also wants to maybe stick around for one more season and have a go at possibly taking a title as well. That's
a good option to go for, and maybe do a couple of overseas races. Remember, the KTM RC390 Cup is literally a worldwide series. They run it in Britain, they run it in over in the Netherlands, they run it in Czech Republic, they run it in America. So a lot of avenues for these young riders to go and explore overseas. Like Dominic Doyle, yeah, third place man now after Coccioni's despise. He's been over to America and raced at Moto America and did very well there, picked up a couple of top 10 finishes. So Brandon Staffen winning at Donington. So a lot of avenues for these young riders to go, and you don't want to make that step up to the 600s too early. You know, maybe CJ Hackett can get a 600 and come out to Red Star Wednesdays or on Sunday track days and do some riding, but don't throw him in to the competitive edge too early because it could backfire on you. So get him used to the 600, but get him really competitive on the RC390. We've seen the progression from CJ Hackett over the last 2 years. When he started out last year, you know, a top 5 was a good result. Now he's dominating races here. So the progression is there. We know he's got the talent, but you need to nurse that talent, get it right, and just don't overexpose it and get him, you know, make the wrong decisions, and we forget about the name CJ Hackett. You know, it's definitely a name we want to be remembering.
I think the other thing is that you take into account, if these guys stick around for one more championship, you're still going to have a very hotly contested one. Yeah. If you've got the likes of Dominic Doyle who's taken victories, you've got the likes of CJ who's taken victories, Tyrese Roberts taking victories, Coccioni who's starting to show prowess in this particular category. Yeah. There's 4 riders just in their own right that can go and play and do some damage at the front end. Will Brandon Staffen maybe have another go at it? Yeah. You know, you never know. There's a good possibility of that. He's not the biggest rider in the world, so he still has the ability on these slightly smaller machines. So we could have 5 riders, potentially a couple of riders coming from the 150s and 250s
Chris
stepping
Wright,
up.
We've got Deegan Claassen.
All of those guys will be involved. So we're certainly in for a great 2017, even though we are sort of, you know, closing things off here with a slightly diminished field. It's nothing to say that the racing hasn't been good. In fact, to be honest with you, some of the best racing we've seen on this entire tour has come out of
Cape Town. Remember Cape Town, 7 abreast into turn 1. So yeah, it's definitely been a championship worthwhile, and it's definitely a good option for any young racer to look at coming up. Go speak to Sean Jabba or Dave Griffin from Rad. They've got bikes to rent. We'll see them racing up later with the 250 Cups. And it's an affordable way to go racing on a competitive machine, a very enjoyable machine are these RC390s. You'll see some elder statesmen, we can call them, racing them later. You can have a lot of fun on these bikes, and it's a good progression because you're going from a 390 to a 600 as opposed maybe from your 250 straight onto a 600. So the progression's there. We've got the NSF 100s. 150s are always a good way to start. Darren Binder, Brad Binder, Adolf Bossoff, they all came from the 150s, as we see CJ Hackett take the line. So the progression is there, and you can see a very happy CJ Hackett, second win of the year, but here comes the newly crowned champion. I wonder if they have a nice big fat #1 waiting for him.
I think they do. His mom and dad said to me that they've got something special for him, so hopefully that's going to happen here at the podium ceremony. We're going to shoot out there to bring you the podium ceremony as well. But a great ride there from Hackett. Take nothing away from him.
Yeah.
To get away from your championship leader and the newly crowned champion as of this race, Aiden Liebenberg, is not an easy feat to do.
Yeah.
Dominic Doyle has had a great season. Unfortunately, he just didn't find the pace here this weekend, but he'll still be on the podium. Chase Hulcher, that's his second best he's got.
Yep.
He has had a podium.
Yep.
So well done to Chase. And Aaron Hardeman, top 5. Brilliant stuff. Yes, it's only 6 riders out there, but you know what? Hey, if you're not in the field, you can't take a top 5. So well done to Aaron. Luca Coccioni, I think he'll be kicking himself a little bit and finding out exactly what went wrong. I'm going to go with your gut feel on that there was a brake issue. That's pretty easy to sort out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'll be back in the hunt here for race number 2. But let me shoot out there and get to the podium. Dominic Doyle, you want to go join us up on that podium, big guy? Good job today. In 3rd place, a great ride from the young man. And he'll be looking for a little bit higher up a little later on. Let's give him a big round of applause there. Come on, make some noise. 2nd place, and your newly crowned SuperJunior Champion. You'll see it with the #1 shirt on. Let's hear it for Aiden Liebenberg. And 1st place at the top, riding out of the Elite Car Park and Fire Equip. Let's hear it for CJ Hackett. 3rd place. Oh, that's quite nice, eh? 3rd place is going to be handed up by Tyrese Roberts and his broken arm. Girls, he's looking for sympathy, so please don't give him a kiss afterwards. And you can sign his arm at the same time. He's got some famous people signed on that arm already. Stephen Watson signed that arm yet, eh? Not yet. Oh, there's some space there. We can still play. 2nd place. Oh, Mr. Jabba. This is Sean Jabba's dad, John Jabba. Sean Jabba, of course, known as Mr. Loverman. Jabba. Hope you all got that one. And Stephen Watson's going to hand out 1st place to CJ Hackett. So there you go. Make some noise for our top 3 in the first race of Super Juniors here. Final round of the Diode SuperGP Champions Trophy. And let's have a quick chat to all 3 of our riders, starting with Dom. Come on down here, Dom. Dude, the pace wasn't quite there, but I'm sure you're going to work on that. If you do get the pace, there's going to be a nice little battle between the 3 of you, because it's now all holds thrown away and no holds barred, and just go for it for the final win of the season.
Yeah, the first race wasn't sorry, not what I was looking for, and I'll try and get there in the second race. And I just like to thank everyone that's helped me throughout the year: Ginger Arrow, Auto Motorcycles, Techron Systems, Road Racing World in America.
You had a good outing out there as well, and it all went well. But of course, you're now going to bring it back to home soil. What's the plans now for going into the future? Hopefully for next year, and what you're going to be planning?
Next year, maybe 600 in regionals, and maybe do 2 rounds in the national series.
Brilliant stuff. Good luck for this next one. We'll see you later on. Champ, in you come, big guy. I bet you've been itching to put that T-shirt on all season long, huh?
Yeah, definitely. This season was amazing, and I'd just like to say thanks to my mom and dad, and also Uncle Wayne Shelley for making it possible for me to race, and for all of their help, and just everybody who came to support me this year. Didn't quite go according to plan in terms of the final win, but you weren't looking for that, were you? No, not really. I struggled a bit, but I'll try in the race too. So now it's no holds barred, eh? No, yeah. Good job. All right, CJ, you better get in here, mate, because those are fighting words, eh? CJ, exactly what you needed to do today. You went and did and got out to the front. In fact, getting down to some of the best times we've seen on that short circuit. So it all bodes well. But, of course, new leathers, new helmet, all working well too. Looks like a bit of a fight coming your way for race 2.
Yes, definitely the race 2 I'm looking forward to. But this race, I couldn't ask for any better race. And I'm just very thankful for Fire Equip and Uncle Paul for fixing my bike and everyone just supporting me this race.
Awesome stuff. So we'll see you for the next one, hopefully at the top of the podium.
Yes, I'm holding thumbs, I'm holding fingers to get onto the first podium, ball, and yeah.
We're about to start the second half of the day, and it's Super Juniors that are lined up. Only 5 of them making it out there, so one rider unfortunately hasn't made it back onto the circuit. In fact, now the 6th rider comes to take up his position, and it's all about CJ Hackett, the man on 33 on the right of your screen as they head down towards turn number 1. That was the man to beat in race number 1. Side by side with Coccioni. Coccioni looks like he might have got the whole shot. No, just squeezes out, and a change up for second place as we go into turn number 1. The new champion is there in 3rd place. Aiden Liebenberg doing a great job there in 3rd and hanging on for now, but already starting to put some pressure onto the back end and finds a way through to get ahead of Coccioni. So it is CJ Hackett leading things out ahead of Aiden Liebenberg and Coccioni there in 3rd place. Behind them, the rest of the field sorting themselves out there, led out by, looks like a little bit of an uncharacteristic start, unfortunately, coming out of 4th place. I can tell you there is no worries at all at the front end. Now, I spoke to Aiden Liebenberg on the podium after the first race, and he said he was going for the race win. He wanted to take the final blood. However, CJ, I think, might have some other plans up his sleeve. He wants a double victory here, and the last blood of the season to head the way of the Fire Equip and Elite Car Services KTM.
And the number 1 on Aiden Liebenberg's bike looks oh so pro, that gold number 1. He's deserved it over the whole year, but like you said, CJ Hackett, if there's one fighter out there, it is CJ Hackett. He's not going to give that lead to Aiden Liebenberg very easy. But Liebenberg goes on the inside of turn 2. Very brave move, because there are those bumps as you go into the turn. So really trusting the front end is Aiden Liebenberg. But look at CJ Hackett trying to fight straight back in the turn where we've seen him crash out the last race meeting that we were here. So Aiden Liebenberg, definitely a man on the mission. You said you spoke to him, and he's a determined rider. He wants to pick up a win. We've already seen him win in the 250 Cup. A great performance in the 600s. He's still got those races to do later, but he wants to cement that number 1, that beautiful gold number 1 on the front of that bike with a win here at the final race of the season.
CJ in 2nd place there. 3rd place is Luca Coccioni. Dominic Doyle, double D. Fortunately not quite getting the start he wanted, but he's slowly but surely making up some ground on Coccioni as they cross the line. CJ is the man to beat, but not anymore. Aiden Liebenberg has now taken the lead, and he looks like he's going to start opening up a massive margin to get away from CJ. So 0.3 of a second as they came through there between 1st and 2nd, then down to 1.2 for 3rd place. Not at all an issue, but I can tell you something, nothing wrong with Coccioni and Doyle's pace for a 2nd and 3rd place battle. And then a bit further back from that, looks like lone rider is Chase Hulcher. But
look at that,
what a move
CJ
there.
Hackett into turn number 3. That's definitely his favorite overtaking move. And Liebenberg looks behind him as if to say, where did you come from? My pit board just said I had a 0.3 lead over you. But that's CJ Hackett for you. If he sees a gap, he will take it. And that's exactly what he did there. He lined it up from turn 2, the right-hander, and he knew if I don't stick it on the inside of Liebenberg here, he could potentially get away. So race tactics here from CJ Hackett is stick with Liebenberg. And if he gets ahead of me, I've got to rough him up. You'll see, here's the replay. Look at the front end of CJ Hackett's bike. He is trusting that front end. Aiden Liebenberg trying to go for the nice wide sweeping line to get the drive. Hackett sticks that KTM on the inside there, pretty much a block pass, nowhere else for Liebenberg to go. And there's a look behind it to say, where the hell did you come from?
Yeah, I had to look back and thought, hang on a second, my board said 0.3.
Liar, Dad.
Yeah, that 0.3 was made up in about 0.1. But anyway, let's see what happens now as they come through for another lap. This is where the overtaking maneuver happened. And the sweeping line this time comes out of CJ as he stays ahead of Aiden Liebenberg, heading down towards turn 4 of the short circuit. Flicks it over, a little bit of a change up in line there from Aiden. He tries to go on the inside and cut up, but not going to find a way through on CJ. CJ's lines are very good around here, and he was able to pull about a half a second gap over everybody in the first race, so he's trying to do the same thing. Coccioni now in a bit of a fight as Dom Doyle eventually finds his way up for the 3rd place and becomes a little bit of a contender in the hunt there for 3rd and the final spot of the final podium for 2016.
Such an impressive day for Aiden Liebenberg. Remember, he climbs literally from the RC390 onto the big 600 Kawasaki machine, then onto the 250 Kawasaki machine. So contrasting styles, and he's got to deal with all of that. Remember, he only gets one warm-up lap between each of those. So he's got one warm-up lap to learn the bike and then put in a performance like this. So really, as far as our motor rider of the day goes, potentially could be, there's so many that could be today, because we've got Matty Skoltz being crowned champion, Liebenberg being crowned champion. But for the amount of racing that Liebenberg's doing today, that he could be the leader for the contender of that motor rider of the day.
Yeah, I think so. And the other option, of course, might be for Hendrik de Bruin if he gets a double.
In the Masters.
Or even Johnny Cricker if he gets back up on there. And I'd hate anybody to fight off Johnny Cricker for
that award.
Rider of the day. I won't say any more about that. But got to say a shout out as well, because we are going live via Facebook, as you know. And if you're watching us from Facebook, or if you're not, make sure you tell all your friends about us. Share all the links that are there. We are live right now on the Facebook page for SuperGP Champions Trophy. And get a heads up that we're going all the way, and Tim Cook's in the background. He's going to be listening very carefully as I say this, to Austria. And Lauren van der Westhuizen, our good friend from commentary,
awesome, yeah.
is enjoying all the action coming from the SuperGP Champions Trophy here at Red Star Raceway, sitting pretty in his little Alpine Lodge.
Oh, good man.
He's living the life out there.
Oh, good man, Laren. And I've just been on Facebook showing a couple of the guys from the MTech crew and that the incident we saw in the Super GP.
Yeah.
Literally logged onto Super GP Facebook page, and there's the whole Super GP race. From start to finish,
And you can fast forward,
and you can
rewind,
fast forward, rewind. So you got your own
pause.
highlights reel. So
It's fantastic.
absolutely amazing. And right now on track, Dominic Doyle, he's made the move ahead of Coccioni. So Doyle looked like he's starting to put in a little bit of a charge here now. If these two at the front can ruffle each other up a little bit, that'll allow the likes of Dominic Doyle and Coccioni to maybe close that gap. So for the sake of this race, we need the two leaders
I'm
to
hoping
maybe just bump each other around a bit.
Yeah, I think just slow each other down a little bit, and let's make it a four-way battle for what potentially would be the last win of the season. The championship is done. You can see the #1 plate there on the second bike, and that's the blue one with the orange wheels headed down into turn 2. But I think if we could get those other two riders up there, wow, a four-way battle would be conducive of what we've seen all season long.
Yeah, it'll be fitting, yeah.
So as they come out of turn number 3 now, heading to 4, CJ Hackett hanging on for dear life. Around his tail is Aiden Liebenberg. Closing in is Dominic Doyle. Coccioni looks behind him. He doesn't have to worry too much about Chase Hulcher. Chase Hulcher still down in 5th place ahead of Aaron Hardiman. Those are the last two bikes on track. And even though we've got 6 riders only in this final round of the Super Juniors, there's still some great action and some great racing we saw in the first heat and here again in heat number 2.
Yeah, we got Tyrese Roberts sitting on the sideline, watching the race today with his left arm all casted up. He would have been right up at the front with these guys on track. So watch out for Tyrese Roberts to maybe make a return to this category next year, or potentially even in the 600 class. But these two riders, certainly we know Aiden Liebenberg will be in the Super 600s next year. He's already competed there today and picked up a 7th place there and 2nd in the regional category. So it's an amazing achievement there from that man, Aiden Liebenberg. But he's got a lot of work to do to try and get ahead of CJ Hackett. You can see he's trying every which way possible. He just cannot find the opportunity yet. CJ Hackett making no mistakes at the moment. And Dominic Doyle slowly but surely, that 10th of a second, just closing the gap, is the rider all the way from Port Elizabeth. So great that he's made the track all the way from Port Elizabeth up to race here at Red Star Raceway, and another rider to watch out for, potentially in the Super 600s next year. Coccioni maybe suffering with a little bit of those brake issues we saw in race number 1. He's slightly faded now down there in 4th position, but if anything happens between these 3 riders at the front, he could find himself picking up yet another podium finish.
It's great to see, and I'm just getting some interactions while we're going here about guys who are logging onto our Facebook page and enjoying all the action that's going out here live from Red Star Raceway. So just keep it coming, guys. The more the merrier. That's what it's all about. Let's share everybody out there and make sure that the world knows about Super GP. This is the kind of action we've seen all season long, and we're going to see more and more of it as we get into 2017, and a couple of exciting times and exciting team changes for next year as well, which we'll hopefully be able to get into at the end of the day. But if not, we'll be able to pick it all up out of probably out of Ride Fast magazine. But Dominic Doyle now with a 53.711. Slowly but surely becoming a threat to the front end of this field, and could spoil the day for both Liebenberg and Hackett.
Yeah, with 8 laps remaining, there's still enough time for Dominic Doyle to close down on the 2 leaders. So that was the fastest lap time of the race so far from the man in 3rd place. So definitely closing that gap down now on Cameron Hackett and Aiden Liebenberg. But as I say, that CJ Hackett goes and puts in a 53.5. That's the fastest time that we've seen today so far from the Super Juniors. So CJ Hackett responding to the pressure from behind from Liebenberg and Dominic Doyle, but saying that, look at Liebenberg. He's literally shadowing bike number 33 in front of him, just waiting to pounce. He's got that #1 plate on, and he wants to finish the season off with a race victory.
Oh, that's 9 down. We've got 7 to go. Make it 6.5 as they head down into turn 4. 6.5 laps to go. Liebenberg had another look, but just backed out of it for now. Going to hang tight and wait for probably a little bit later in the race to make that move stick. If he goes too soon, then of course CJ will have the upper hand and be able to ride from behind it. Kind of like track cycling here, where you've got 2 riders on track. The man from behind definitely has the advantage and can pull a little late maneuver if he has to. But in terms of the way that they're riding, the 2 of them are a lot slower. 53.9, 53.7, 53.8. Okay, I say a lot slower. It's only 1/10 of a second, but Dominic Doyle is certainly the most aggressive rider on track right now, and slowly but surely closing in to catch onto the back end of CJ and Aiden.
Yeah, the tough thing for Dominic Doyle is he's just it's just not close enough. You know, it's always a lot easier to close down a gap when you're right on the tailpiece, or at maybe 5 tenths or 5 bike lengths back. He's just a little bit, although saying that, he catches up a lot of time coming out of turn number 3. Going in and coming out of turn 3 is Dominic Doyle's strongest part. And look at this now, he's seriously mounting a huge charge. He's literally closed 3 or 4 bike lengths in 2 corners alone. So Dominic Doyle, within a lap or 2, is going to be right on the tailpipe of our 2 leaders, making it a 3-way battle for the lead. And Dom Doyle, if he sees a gap, he'll go. He wants to end the season off with a race win, carrying in that good form into next year, and potentially going for the championship here in the Super Juniors into 2017.
It's 11 down, here we go. Incredible stuff out of Dominic Doyle as he mounts a massive charge to get onto the back end of the 2 leaders. He's not too far behind it. It's only a second between Cameron Hackett and Dominic Doyle on track.
And he was
0.2 between the first 2 riders, and 53.9, 54, 54.
So half a second almost.
So he's half a second quicker than the 2, and you can see visibly he is now closing in and has a chance of spoiling the day here, and he's definitely going to go for it. If he gets anywhere close to Liebenberg, he's definitely going to have a go. He'll probably have a go as soon as he gets there, so that Liebenberg is caught napping, and hopefully then can do the same thing to CJ.
It's great to see the racecraft come out of these young riders. Remember, these guys are between the ages of, 14 and 15. And to see the racecraft, I mean, CJ Hackett, to be able to lead the amount of laps that he has done, despite the pressure coming from behind, is great. Aiden Liebenberg, we've seen the racecraft from him this year, where he's able to just sit there, and when it counts, he makes the move to pick up the race win. Dominic Doyle, 4 laps ago, he was 2 seconds behind his leaders. He's now closed that. So really international stuff and high quality, top quality stuff here from our young riders in the Super Juniors, and that's really what this category is all about. It's an affordable way to go racing, and to put your name out there and to pick up national. Remember, we forget, this is national championship. So you win this championship, Aiden Liebenberg is now a national champion. He will go to the MSA national prize giving at the end of the month as a champion.
SA number 1 is what you want. A lot of riders have been working hard for it. Even look at the likes of Matthew Skoltz, who only today was able to pick up his first SA1 title after years and years of experience and years in the saddle. Here we go, onto the main straight. CJ trying to pull a little bit of a margin now and trying to get as much out of those tyres as possible. Not going to be easy with 3 laps to go. 13 laps completed, 3 laps to go, and definitely in with a shot here is Dom Doyle. As the laps come over, we got a 53.9 out of Hackett, a 53.9 out of Aiden Liebenberg, and this time a 54 out of Dominic Doyle, but it's 1/10.
Yeah.
1/10 is nothing. It's a slight slip in a corner. It's a slightly different maneuver that you pull going in. Like that there. Wow, good move. Massive move from
Repays the
Liebenberg.
favour.
Yeah, and just says, okay, if you can do it up the inside, so can I. And he goes up the inside. Now they're side by side and onto the grass.
But this is what we wanted. Now,
brilliant.
Dominic Doyle is closing down with the 2 leaders out front, just chopping and changing a bit. That's allowed Dominic Doyle to just close that gap a bit. So we're going to have to wait and see. Will Aiden Liebenberg put the hammer down and pull that gap now? I hope not. I hope the likes of CJ Hackett and Dominic Doyle can stick with the number 1 man going into the final 2 laps.
It is so close between these riders as they come out of that last turn onto the main straight. CJ has got it all to do. He has a maneuver. This is where it happened, up into turn number 3. Liebenberg on the inside. Hackett is trying to use that outside line, the flowing line that he would normally have. This time he just gets caught out, and unfortunately, it's a similar type maneuver that he pulled on Liebenberg. Liebenberg said, right, if you can do it, I'll show you that I can do it better.
Yeah, that turn 3 was
straight back into that
straight
AGV.
into the eyes of CJ Hackett, who's probably got some of the scariest. I was going to repay the favor. Turn number 3, classic block pass move, but Aiden Liebenberg, he knew it was coming, so he kind of just railed the line and just kept his line and kept on the gas, not allowing CJ Hackett through. But turn 3 definitely looks like the favorite overtaking move for these young riders.
This is great to see. You can see the Arai visor looking into the AGV one, which looks into the Bell one. Battle of the helmets, battle of the KTM top contenders here. We have got 2 or 3 of them missing, as we mentioned in race number 1, but needless to say, it didn't stop from having an incredible race. And here we've got one
Last
for an
lap.
awesome one. Here's a replay of CJ's attempt. He goes on the inside line. He's got the exact same line that Liebenberg had. He's just not close enough.
Yeah.
And as you said, Liebenberg just rails that outside and says, no, you're not coming through here. I've got this now. You're not going to find your way past. I want this final win on the final lap. And it's final lap time right now, Rob, as they head down towards turn 2. Who is going to have what it takes here to beat Aiden Liebenberg? Is CJ going to try something?
He's not close enough for turn 3. Now you could see he backed out of that. He opted for the nice wide swooping line, try and get the drive. Liebenberg a little bit wide, so that gives CJ Hackett the drive going into turn 4. Look how defensive Liebenberg is going. He's saying to CJ Hackett, if you're going to pass me, you're going to do it the long way around. I'm not going to open the inside line for you. And that's pretty much closed any opportunity for CJ Hackett to make the move and get the win. So it's pretty much Aiden Liebenberg. He's not going to make a mistake here. around the long right. It's all about, can CJ get the drive? I don't think he's close enough.
No, look at this. It's going to be to the line. Your new champion is going to have the final taste of victory here. Checkered flag comes out. Aiden Liebenberg wins out. CJ Hackett in second and Dominic Doyle in third. What a great end to the season. Dominic Doyle just asking maybe for a couple more laps and he would have been there.
Yeah, a couple more laps and definitely Dominic Doyle would have been a little bit closer to the leading two. But a great ride nonetheless. He closed that gap down. Look at the stylish Chase Holscher. Elbow scraping from Chase Holscher there, bike number 58, as he comes to pick up what will be 5th position just behind Luca Coccioni. So another great ride here from our Super GP contenders.
Yeah, these Super Juniors have put on a great show. That's the end of the 2016 season for them. And Rob's going to take you through a couple of highlights while I head down to the podium.
Yeah, make your way to the back of the pit to congratulate our top 3 riders, Aiden Liebenberg, CJ Hackett, and Dominic Doyle. We're going to have a look at the highlights then of race number 2 of the Super Junior category here. At the start, on pole position, it was CJ Hackett. He got the good launch. Coccioni right on his tail there in second. Aiden Liebenberg, not the start he would have wanted, but made his way through the field slowly but surely. CJ Hackett, block pass style on the inside of Aiden Liebenberg into turn 3, forcing the number 1 plate out wide. Dominic Doyle, though, he was back there in 4th position, but he slowly made his way through the field, got ahead of Coccioni and closed down on our 2 leaders who were battling all the way through the race. Liebenberg sat behind CJ Hackett, and when he wanted to make his move, he put it on the inside, repaying the favor that CJ Hackett did to him only a couple of laps before. All the meantime, Dominic Doyle was closing that gap down with 2 laps remaining. CJ Hackett on the inside, trying to make the move stick, but Aiden Liebenberg let go of the front brake, carried the speed, and got the drive that he needed to just hold off CJ Hackett to the line. Dominic Doyle, a great effort there in 3rd place, just didn't have enough. But it was all about Liebenberg with that number 1 plate, picking up yet another race win of the year. Catch up with Greg Maloney with our top 3 riders in the podium ceremony.
Final podium for Super Juniors. Let's get them out here and into their positions. A great race to finish the season off. It's been an incredible season all season long. And we've seen some epic battles, pretty much similar to what we saw in the final couple of laps of this one. Dominic Doyle just trying hard to get through. Just unfortunately found wanting right in the end there. He was asking for maybe a 20-lap race as opposed to a 16-lap. He would have definitely been in as a shot then. But let's get him up. He's the first man going onto the podium in 3rd place. He'll grab his cap from Tim as he goes past there and give him a big round of applause, ladies and gents. Good season. Dominic Doyle in 3rd. Second place, he looked for the double. Unfortunately, he was just caught out there by a great maneuver, a very similar one that was pulled on, that he pulled on the man who eventually won out there. But for Fire Equip and Elite Car Services, let's hear it for CJ Hackett. And it's quite fitting, I'm sure, to see the champion take the final win. So congratulations to your 2016 Super Junior champion and final race winner. Let's hear it for Aiden Liebenberg. And Tyrese Robert is going to be handing 3rd place there to his good friend Dom Doyle. And probably giving high fives to all the other riders. Or not with the broken arm though. Tim Cook from Gas Sports will be handing out 2nd place to CJ. And Raymond from Pirelli will hand out 1st place to Aiden Liebenberg. Come on, let's make some noise, ladies and gents. It's your final podium for Super Juniors. There they are. I thought we'd get some like non-alcoholic champagne, eh? Not quite. Next time we're definitely going to have that. Come on down, guys. Let's have a quick chat. After you've got your photo opportunities done. All photo opportunities done? Come on down here, Dom. Dude, it's been a tough season. You've had some great times. You've had some tough times. Today was a hard fight. You nearly got there. But as I said earlier on, maybe 4 more laps you could have been in the hunt for the front.
Yeah, I started to push, but I pushed a bit too late and was there at the end of the race, but I couldn't make a move to get into the 1st spot or the 2nd spot.
So 3rd will have to do for this final one. But now what are the plans for 2017?
600 regionals or like 1 or 2 nationals and I don't know what we're actually going to do, but that's sort of the plan.
Going to come back and maybe have a go at this championship again?
It's a great championship, but I'm not sure.
Awesome stuff. Well, good to see. Well done, Dom. Flying the flag high there for the Eastern Cape. Let's get CJ in here. CJ? You were looking for the double, buddy. It didn't come, unfortunately, but it was still a great battle. And the same maneuver you pulled on Aiden, he was able to get back at you with.
Yeah, no, definitely. This race was an awesome race. Well done to Aiden for the championship. And I just want to say thank you for all the riders putting in such an awesome effort into making this year possible and making it as fun as it can be. And I just want to say thank you for Fire Cup for supporting me, and Uncle Paul for working on my bike in such quick notice.
Awesome stuff. And plans for next year, you're going to come back and maybe take this #1 plate, or we're going to look to go a little bit higher up into the 600s?
We're looking to go to 600s, but we're going to do the 390s maybe if we can't find a 600.
Awesome stuff. Congratulations. Good season for you as well. Where's the champ? Come on in here, champ. It's an ideal way to finish this championship if you were able to take the last win of the season. So congratulations. I'm sure you worked hard for that one. I saw that you did. It wasn't easy out there, was it?
No, it was quite hard. The race was quite long, but I enjoyed it, and it's a great way to finish off the season. And just well done to CJ and Dominic. They rode really well, and hopefully I'll do good next year on the 600s.
We look forward to that. 600 riders, I think, are really concerned because you're out there now and doing some damage to them already.
Yeah, I'm trying hard. I'm not quite there, but hopefully I'll get there next year.
Awesome stuff. Well, that's some great words from our champion from the Super Juniors.